on automatic in a bad habit, in a fear, in a circumstance that I don't seem to have any control over. And that sort of, I know it's unhealthy and I know it's not good, but, I don't know what to do about it. And this is the way I am, this is my personality, and we just sort of go, oh, well, love me for who I am, I think. So in Elul, we don't necessarily have to accept that. In Elul, we can say, we can go meet, it says that Yitzhak went out into the field to talk to Hashem. And that's, when it says that the king is in the field, it means that he comes a little bit closer to us, and that when we can go and start to talk to him. And talking to him means the same way that I'm talking to you because I know that you are real people. When we talk to Hashem, it's because we know he really is real, okay? And that he really is doing everything, and that he really does love us. These are the fundamental concepts. So now, what do I bring to the king? I bring to him the things that are bothering me, that I wish I could change. So how do I know what the things that I can change are? Well, that's a great question. We have to go and see. We go back into our life and we follow this chart and we ask ourselves these questions and we see, wow, when I was 3 years old and when I was 8 years old, this was what was going on. And all those things, they're still operating in my subconscious. I'm still listening to those messages. And I'm already 71, right? And maybe I shouldn't be doing this anymore. but this is how Hashem made me. So if Hashem made me this way, it's for a reason, because there's something of his light that's trapped there. And now we get into the topic of Shekhinah in exile, that all of us end up with Shekhinah in exile, which is our own soul that's trapped in these corruptions. And that happens because of the eating of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, where all of the elements became corrupted. Hashem's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is parallel to the four elements, fire, wind, water, and earth. And everything is created with fire, wind, water, and earth. There's nothing that's not. And when we ate, there was a basic corruption that got internalized and affected the material elements. And Hashem is concealed in there. And he does that so that we have real free will. Our role is to find where we are being pulled by our corrupted will, by a will that is not his will, and to tell him about it and say, this is what it feels like, this is what it looks like. I understand that it's corrupted will, but I don't want it because I know that your light is trapped there. Your light is trapped there, and I know that I want to use your light to deliver it into Torah and mitzvahs the way you instructed me. So please, I'm going to go forward now with Torah and mitzvahs, and I want to redirect the light that's vitalizing my corrupted will, what's pulling me towards something negative, and I want to reveal it I want to infuse it into something that will reveal it as light, as the light. This is how we draw down Shefa. We draw down the Shefa from Hashem's way. This is what he intended the Jewish people to do.
Abundance. Shefa is abundance. That's how we draw down abundance. No, I'm just translating the word Shefa. Shefa is abundance.
No, okay, fine, right. Blessing. So, and this is what he creates us to do. This is what he creates. He creates us to draw down this abundance. So, especially this year in Elul, when I sat down to do my LLC, it's like another year. What with Putin and China and Corona and who knows, and war and who knows what else is going on. I didn't have any heshek. I didn't have any vitality for it until I realized something that I want to share with you. Somebody had a dream, I said in the beginning of this call, that Mashiach is here. And she's not the only one. I think Don Segal said that we should no longer be saying Mashiach is coming, that we should be saying Mashiach is here. Okay? So if Mashiach is here, then 5783 is going to be a year with Mashiach. And if 5783 is going to be a year with Mashiach, I want my year that I'm formulating in my mind to be a year that aligns me with the reality of Mashiach being here. So what I'm writing on my Elul sheet is I want to learn the Torah that Mashiach is going to be teaching. I want to be doing mitzvahs every moment that I can. Okay? And that excited me to do my Elul sheet, to go into the Teshuvah and to do all of this. And then when you understand this idea that the Jewish people draw the blessing in, if each one of us takes our Elul seriously and says, the chef is coming, I want to fix this character trait so that I can reveal more light, that I can be a conduit for revealing more light in this world and in the world of Mashiach. If each one of us does this, we will be forming our year based on the presence of Mashiach. We will be bringing Mashiach down into our Elul plan, into our spiritual business plan. And when Hashem recreates the world on the 21st of September, which is the 25th of Elul, even though the year doesn't change until the 6th day, which is Tishrei, 1 Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah, the year gets created in the Big Bang happens on the first day, which is going to be this year on the 25th of Elul, which is September 21st, I think, at the night of the 20th. If we all put down, the chef is here, and I want to heal my corrupted character traits so that I can reveal more light, we can bring it in. I believe that. Because Hashem will build it in. Oh, they need the chef in order to get their Elul plan done. Please God, you should listen to our yearning and our prayer. Okay, so now back to the sheet. You've got your Rachel type and you've got your Leah type. If you read Rabbi Morgenstern on Rachel and Leah, those terminologies are very specific, but really what they're referring to are our emotions and our intellect. Rachel is considered to be like our emotions, and Leah, as we know, is more of the thinking, more of our intellectual properties. Now, each one of us is rooted in one or the other. Even though we're a mixture of both, we have to be, everybody's a mixture of both. We all have a tendency to be either more like emotional or more intellectual. Okay, and each one of these things have their own patterns and characteristics. Why am I bringing it up? Because what happens to us when we are actually children, when we're actually little, is we're very emotional. And our pure soul quickly believes things like if a teacher looks at you a certain way, or if a parent treats you in a certain way. We have an emotional reaction if we don't get what we want. All these little children, right? And the parents and the teachers in our life, they're the ones who are trying to be the shapers. They're disciplining us. They're being good servants. They are being responsible. They're doing the right thing. They think we did something wrong and they're trying to correct us. But they don't necessarily come from a place of love. They're coming from a place of responsibility or from something that they think is the right way of handling it, right? And very often what happens when you have a mixture of the parent disciplining and the child's emotion, we form a thought habit that may or may not be correct, depending on how that discipline took place. Okay, and we can live with that. That forms the wallpaper of our brain, and we can relive that over and over and over again. Trauma, negativity, frustration, all the different things that you can remember that everybody experiences. These things form in our mind, and what's happening is that is how Hashem is setting our free will point, our Behira point. He sets it that way, and part of our inner panimi, our inner essence, is going to be held hostage, so to speak, to the false beliefs that form. Not all of the beliefs that we form are false, but most of us have a certain amount of false beliefs that that we become afraid of. We're afraid of dogs. We're afraid of the dark. We're afraid of people. We're afraid of hard work or whatever it is. You know, I don't do well with this. I don't do well with that. All these topics. So what we have to understand is that just like there's an angel over every blade of grass, if we were to understand that that's a construct, no different from a blade of grass, that got formed, it's a material construct in our mind, a thought habit, and that we climb up it, think of it as a wick, and that it's burning with fire, there's a light that's over it. And that light is the pure light. That light is the Shekhinah in exile that is animating that thing and is trapped there. And that's what we want to grab. We want to take that light, recognize that it's pure light, and that even though we're experiencing it as pain, as fear, as frustration, or torment, or whatever it is that is bothering us, or that we keep repeating, or as an unhealthy urge, maybe we overeat, okay? We want to take that light that's vitalizing that thought habit, and we want to shift it to a mitzvah. Any mitzvah really will do, because you're taking it, you're like changing its outfit. It's dressed up in this thought habit, and we want to now take it and put it into a mitzvah that will actually take that light and reveal it. When we do that, what we're doing is we're telling Hashem that we know you're doing everything, that this is your light, that we want to be only a chariot for the light to come into the world to reveal you, and we're taking action. We're in the world of action. We're going to use our muscles right now. Going forward, we have the intention to put this into a mitzvah. When we do that, that infinite light that's trapped in the thought habit is now given to our inner panini again. It's renewed and restored to us, because and the creeper falls away. The false beliefs, they fall away. They no longer have the same vitality. They look external to us, even though we still experience them. They don't feel compelling. They're happening, but they don't, we can walk past them. We're not recognizing them as something we have to hang our head from shame or blame or excruciating pain, or feel like we have low self-esteem, or that we have to react to with viciousness, or respond to as if our life is at stake. We can move all of this through our recognizing that is only vitalized by light, infinite light from the Or Makiv, from the encompassing light, and that it's distanced and distorted from us, but that by recognizing that and putting it into a mitzvah, Hashem will once again enclose and invest it within our inner panini, that we can feel it as joy and light, and put it into a mitzvah, and we will be able to proceed without feeling pulled by that old thought habit that formed when we were young. This is what you call elevating the sparks. We're taking the spark that by Hashgacha Pratis ended up in that thing, and we're taking responsibility. We're not moving anything. We're taking responsibility to recognize, to shower love on it, to make a choice, to move it into a mitzvah, and that's our choice. That's what we have, the force. That's what the force of our soul can do. But Hashem is doing everything else. And and when you start doing this, you start seeing how it works, then we really can come to live with a presence of Hashem in our lives. We really come to see that it's really true. Hashem really is doing everything, and we're able to live with more light and less self-consciousness. We're less pulled towards our self-consciousness, and we don't want to let go of our God consciousness for anything, because we're getting like a joy and a pleasure from it that is really what Hashem intended for us to experience in being alive, to feel that closeness, that palpable closeness with Him. Okay, I'm going to pause here because I said a lot.
Does anybody have any questions on what Shuli just explained to us? Is there any clarity that anybody needs? Anything?
I was wondering if Shuli was a practical.
Nechama, go ahead. If everybody, Nechama, go ahead.
But Shuli, give us a practical example. It always helps when you have something concrete.
Okay, go ahead, Shuli.
Yeah, sure. I'll be happy to. Okay, so I mean, this is very personal, so it's not being recorded, and
It
I
is
don't mind
actually,
if
Shuli,
everybody
it is
hears
being recorded. I recorded it.
Oh, it's being recorded?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, well, here it goes for all of history. I have to be careful that I don't say anything that's Russian horror. It's very hard to talk about this giving examples without speaking Russian horror, so please forgive me if what I'm going to say now is vague, okay? But let's just say that when I was very little, something happened where I did something that was normal for my age group, and the response was that I was treated as if I was like the biggest criminal in the entire world. Okay? And that formed a construct for me in my mind that it was really sort of dangerous to be natural. And I became probably like a goody two-shoes, right? You know, like I was very careful to just be there. I was a very, very good kid, okay, after that. However, it wasn't so healthy for me because I was very insecure and I was very scared of people. All right? I guess that sort of summarizes it, right? So I probably have been working on this for decades now. And this year, when I looked at my sheet, I told you it took me 2 days to straighten out this time period 0 to 4, and I came to certain understandings. I came to certain understandings why I was insecure, why that gave me a feeling insecure. One of the benefits of being a bubby is that I see that what I did was totally normal. There's not one of my grandchildren who didn't do it, right? And it also gave me the that being a bubby, understanding that our intellect itself is not our own. We have an intellect, but it's coming through to us from Hashem, either from the Yetzer Tov or the Yetzer Hara. There's only an intellect that's coming from Hashem. Every single thought is not our own thought. It does not originate with us. It's originating either in the Yetzer Hara or the Yetzer Tov, and it's being uttered into us. We don't have control of what comes into our brain. We have control about what we do with it afterwards. And that I didn't need to hold on to these things that I believed about myself because of being considered a criminal for doing what I did when I was 0 to 4. Okay, so that's the best example that I can give you without speaking Russian or going into more detail. I hope that helps. I can give you more examples.
Shuli, can I interject for a second? Shuli, can I just interject for a second?
Yeah.
And just give, so with, if you don't take an actual example, I think that if everybody looks at their own lives, right, and they think of something that formed a certain thought about themselves, right, something in your life at an early age, maybe something that somebody said to you, or something you did that you felt shame, something that, or you felt you were made to feel ashamed about, something that you that created a feeling that you weren't loved enough. And I think what Shuli's trying to explain is you took these experiences in your life and you, rather than being able to healthfully separate the feeling from the action, you projected it on and you continued in your life projecting it onto the other.
It operates in the subconscious. It works in the subconscious, and we don't even realize we're listening to it. That's the point.
Right.
Once you start to realize it's there and you can listen to it, now already you have the hearer. You can start to make some choices.
Right.
But a lot of these things operate without our permission. We just pull towards them. Okay? And we don't want to be. And we don't know why. So really the work in Elul is to look like over our lives is to spot the heshbon is to spot the patterns. Right. Now I want to emphasize that Elul is not about heshbon and nefesh. Elul is about renewal. Okay? We do the cheshbon and nefesh to see what we want to renew, what part of our soul needs to be renewed. And that's what we go to Hashem, who's in the field with. Once we do the cheshbon, which should take some time, but that's not the entire focus, and we certainly should not fall into the darkness of what's in our subconscious. We're writing these things down to find the pattern. And then once we spot the pattern, now what we're asking for is renewal. I want to take the part of my soul that got trapped there, and I want to renew it. I want to use it for you, Hashem. Okay? In so doing, when we do that, then we're able to be that chariot for the light to come to this world. And we're not going, and then we're doing tshuva on our past failures. The things that we did wrong are there where our life force got trapped and we're renovating. That's tshuva. We're taking the light from those things, and they're no longer associated with us. That's what tshuva is. They may still exist in some construct, but they don't have our face on them anymore. We're taking our light back. We're asking Hashem to give us our light back, I should say. We don't do anything. We don't take anything. We have no power of our own. All we have is will, free will. We have the power of speech, and we have whatever Hashem is giving to us. Consciousness. We want to take our self-consciousness and bring it to consciousness, God consciousness. And the more we do that, the more we will live with this, more of our soul enclosed and invested in our heart, feeling the palpable closeness of Hashem, which is really the salvation for everything.
So, Shuli, just a question, just going along with your example you gave earlier. So that insecurity that you identified from that experience you had, so what are you supposed to, once you've identified that, what's the goal of what you're supposed to do with that?
Okay, fine. So first you say thank you. This is how just like Hashem made Niagara Falls and He made Mount Everest. Hashem built that. It's a construct that Hashem orchestrated in my life, and He made that hashgacha pratis so that part of the divine soul that He gave me could do the work that it came here to do, which is to somehow take that spark and bring it back to Him. Okay, He constructed that. Okay, I didn't deserve it. I didn't do anything. I didn't ask for that to happen, right? But Hashem designed our soul. Every single soul is a radiance of Hashem's name, which is an emanation of Hashem's light. Hashem emanates a light called Havaya, and then every soul is a radiance from Havaya. And it's without stops, just like a ray of the sun is connected to the sun. There's nothing in between, right? So he sends this light into a body, and the light remains pure. The body, is inherently has to have a corruption in it in order for it to appear. If Hashem did not pull back the visibility of Hashem's light, the world would not appear. So in order for Him to hide Himself, He needs to put like mud and dirt and corruption, right, all over it. That's what hides Him. So the job of the divine soul is to not be tricked by that. To say, Hashem, you created this. You created my life. You created the construct. Everything is you. I recognize your light is in that corruption. I recognize I'm having an experience with my Creator. When I feel the anxiety, when I feel the insecurity, I am having an experience of the light of the King. And when I can move upwards in my thinking away from how my stomach feels about it and recognize that I am having an encounter with the light of the King, and that I don't want the light of the King to be experienced this way, that I want to be a better vessel for holding that light. I don't want to experience His light shaking like an insecure leaf. I want to experience His light as He intends. And I declare that. I say, I love you, Hashem, and I know this is all love. That's your love. And I'm going to express it as love and do a mitzvah right now and give it a new expression. It's in this expression of insecurity, and I don't want to express it as insecurity. I'm taking your love, and I'm expressing it as tzedakah. I'm expressing it as bikucholim. I'm expressing it as a bracha. I'm expressing it as a pasuk of Torah. And so tohu is the concealment, and bohu is its expression. So if I leave my tohu expressed as insecurity, that's bohu, confusion. But if instead I say, I don't want, I'm going to express it as love, I'm going to express it as a mitzvah, then I'm taking the raw material and I'm forming it into a garment that Hashem instructs us by Torah. And I'm asking Hashem now to shift his infinite light into that mitzvah. And that's what he does, because he asked us to do that. That's what Klal Yisrael is intended to do. So now, when I have a choice, when that thought pattern comes up, and I understand it, I'm having an encounter with the light of the King. The light of the King is all love. I'm going to express this as love and put it into a mitzvah. So that's called a unification. That's when we say the Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. We make a unification, and we go to the mitzvah. That's what Rosh Hashanah is about. We're agreeing once again, Hashem, we're going to do this again this year. I want to bring you. We want to elevate all the sparks. We want to bring your light into this world. We're in. We're exhausted. We're battle fatigued, but we understand all the sparks have not been brought into this world. I'm in, and here's my plan. When I feel this way, I'm going to do this. When I feel this, I'm going to do this mitzvah. That's our spiritual business.
Thank you. Okay, great. So basically what you're doing is you're taking a negative feeling and you're trying to use it towards good.
Okay, so the negative feeling has a vessel and a light. The vessel is the message that's causing my stomach to feel constricted. The light is pure light. It's the light of the King. And that's the recognition that I can pray to Hashem, to the King, and tell him that I recognize him, and ask that his light move into the mitzvah that I'm going to do, and abandon the negative message.
But
okay,
she's
beautiful.
also
Okay.
saying, Adele, she's also saying that the negative message, it's not that you're not supposed to acknowledge the negative message. You can feel the negative
Right.
message and you can acknowledge it because it is something that you're experiencing. But you have to, what she's trying to say also, but what she's also trying to say is the negative message that you're feeling is a false belief. It's not coming, it's coming from something that you've experienced that has gone into your consciousness, right? But it's not the truth. It's your feeling, but it's not the truth. It's Hashem's trapped love. And therefore that when you direct it into Hashem and you turn it around, you're taking that trapped love that has been trapped in that negative feeling and you're releasing it. And then you're allowing the light of Hashem. You're a chariot for the light of Hashem. Go ahead, Shuli. Explain it better.
No, I got that.
That was
It's
great.
very tough.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
You explained it very well. You explained it very well. I just want to use a language that might be a little bit more familiar, which maybe you've heard about, holding the paradox. Okay? The place where this merging takes place is in our consciousness. So in our consciousness, we hold the paradox of how it feels, right next to the fact that Hashem is doing everything and he's all loving. Right? It seems to be two opposite things, but it's not. When we understand that we can hold that in our mind, a paradox, and shower love upon it, because it's Hashem's love. We're using Hashem's love that's trapped in that message and showering it upon it. We're giving it a new expression. That provides that consciousness, that holding of the paradox provides a pipeline through which Hashem can absorb back all the light and then enclose and invest it within us in its purified state again.
And
that's what having consciousness is for.
And I just want to mention, how we have the whole discussion this week about happiness. So what Shuli's trying to explain too is when you go into that place and the external doesn't define you, you don't need to find that happiness from the outside, because all these things that you're experiencing as your feelings and negativity stop affecting you in the same way, because you understand that's not who you are and that's not defining you.
Yeah. Again, our self-consciousness, we take it for granted. We think that we're here, that we have autonomy, that we have power, that we have, this is my life, right? We feel this way. And that story that was told just earlier about somebody knocking on the door and saying, the house is on fire, you got to get out of here, right? So that we have to break through our self-consciousness, because really our self-consciousness, even though we've had it ever since we are born, needs to come to a mature consciousness of understanding that Hashem is doing everything and that we are here to reveal Him. As long as we're in the center, then without realizing it, we are blocking, we have a bias and in our will. And the bias in our will is blocking Hashem's light. And we don't mean to do that. Nobody here is trying to block Hashem's light. Everybody here is trying to do everything they can to do mitzvahs and reveal Hashem's light. But Hashem is asking us to come one more step closer and to understand that He really is doing everything to spit the apple out, to spit out the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and come back to the intellect that Adam had, that his intellect was Hashem's intellect, that he was one with it. That's what shattered. That's what, when he ate, the intellect shattered and the corruptions formed and fell into the self-conscious and gave us self-consciousness. That's what happened. So we have to do our best to try and undo that by going to a place of feeling oneness with Hashem, in a deep opening of there's a deep place in our heart that's hidden from us, that is able to hold the encompassing light. Our light force is the Tamimi light, the inner light. But there's a deep place in our heart that is able to hold the infinite light that's in the encompassing light, the Or Makif. And when we circumcise our heart, and the more we can take away layer after layer, year after year, one more layer of self-consciousness to be more God-conscious, we're coming closer to opening up that place in our heart. And that's what's called circumcising the heart. So even though we all like the way it feels when we get our egos stroked. Yesterday was my Hebrew birthday, and one person came by with a big fruit drink and 2 muffins and a salad and a beautiful card. It's like, I called her and said, oh my goodness, you made me feel like a person, you know? And it was so nice, right? And because it spoke to my physical being, she appreciated me, right? Even though we love that, that's not really what we're here for, even though it feels great, okay? And everybody would enjoy that. We've enjoyed that every, birthday party. My granddaughter has the same birthday as me. So I asked her, what do you want for your birthday? She goes, I want a cake. Right? I want a cake, right? Of course she wants a cake, right? So, again, we have to have this understanding. What are we listening to? And is there something that's even more pleasurable than that? What could be more pleasurable than having a palpable sense of Hashem in our heart? We have to yearn for that. We have to yearn for that, and we have to be willing to give up something for it, to go against our self-consciousness, to be Moser Nefesh something, in order that place is emptied out, so that instead we have a more palpable sense of Hashem in our heart.
Is there any more questions?
Can I ask a question?
Of course, go ahead.
I think it's beautiful to start out like that strength of Mashiach's here, so I'm doing all this because I want to reveal that light. It's here. I have power that I never had before. That's a great starting point. But I wanted to ask practically, let's say you have this weakness and you know it's your weakness, like, for whatever you experience, that this is the thoughts that are coming to you. And you have an awareness and you're trying to get you know, acknowledge that and elevate it and give it to Hashem. But every single time those thoughts or those feelings come up, you choose a mitzvah that you do at that time. Is that sort of what it is or not?
Yes. First say the Shema. First recognize that there's a vessel and a light, and that you want the light, not the vessel. Say the Shema that unifies. That's the unifying peace. That's the Yichud. And then we want to be able to take that light and put it into a mitzvah, walking past all the judgments and condemnations and negative thoughts that we would have otherwise had. In other words, we're going to run to Hashem. Okay, we're going to say, Hashem, I know this is all you. Shema Yisrael. And now I want to take this light and I want to come and put this mitzvah. But while we're walking back to go to the mitzvah, we might still think, she did this, he did that. You have to walk past all of that and put it into the mitzvah. Okay? You have to see that those are the corruptions in the elements that are coming to grab the light. When we are face to face with Hashem, there's no room at all for the Yetzer Hara to come and suckle. It's only when there's a break, when we're listening to that voice of doubt, when we're listening to that self-consciousness that's telling us our will is right. Okay, then the Yetzer Hara is trying to get us to do that because it wants the light. It's trying to take that light for the forces of darkness. You have to understand it's going to come and try to rob us of the light. And it's going to come with all the familiar messages that we've been listening to for all these years, whatever works. Oh, come on, one more cookie is not going to hurt you. The ice cream is so good, have another. Who does she think is? You really should tell her off, right? How could you put up with that? No one's allowed to do that. You really need to blast her. She can't get away with that. You need to be able to walk past all of that, understanding what it is. Okay, where it's not telling you, it's not coming, that message is not coming from a mitzvah of the Torah, it's coming from the some kind of a separate existence that the Yetzer Hara wants us to believe is more real, which is, of course, what we've experienced since day one, because we are born with a body, and the body's intellect is what forms first. Until we're 13 or even 20, we don't even have the ability to have the cognitive ability to bring God into the picture this way and have a running head start. This is Hashem wants this. This is the creation that Hashem wants. He wants this. He wants us to overcome this. He wants us to willfully subdue the message in favor of clinging to the light at the face of the king and putting it into a mitzvah.
So you know what, Fruma, take something in your life, right? That, like you're saying, a thought that keeps coming back to you, right? That you feel that no matter what, it just keeps coming back and it repeats itself. What happens to you when you feel that way? Think about it. What Shuli's saying is it takes away your life force, right? When you feel those feelings, at least when I do, I feel defeated, right? Beaten down a little bit, defeated when somebody says something to you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So Shuli's saying to you, that's the Yetzer Hara trying to take away your life force. And she's saying, don't let it take away your life force.
Now, I think it's a beautiful antidote on how to put God into it. It's beautiful.
Well, she's saying it is God.
That's my light, Yetzer Hara. That's my light. Go away.
Right. Right. She's saying, don't give away your life force to a false belief. It's not true.
Yes.
What you're feeling.
Right.
It's just your feeling.
That's
But
right.
really, she's saying Hashem's love is trapped in there. And when we bring it back to God and we realize that it's not us, it's those ongoing thoughts that hold us back from all the things, and it's stealing. It steals. It's true. Think about it. But when you say, wait a minute, this is not true. This is not true. I'm not loved, right? Right? So, and then you take it and you bring it back to God and you say, Hashem, I know this is your trapped love. This is only you. There's only you. There's nobody else. There's only you.
Right.
So I'm going to take it right now, and I'm not going to give away my life force, and I'm going to put it in a mitzvah, because I know that my divine, my soul, that Hashem is there's nothing but Hashem. And therefore, I'm going to do a mitzvah, and I'm not going to define myself.
Force is Hashem. All force is Hashem.
Right.
All force is Hashem. I don't have any force of my own. If I have force, it's Hashem's force. I'm going to put it into a mitzvah. All force is Hashem.
We're going to take one more. It's almost four.
Very
It's almost
powerful. Thank you. Very, very powerful. Thank you.
It's almost 4:20. We'll take one more question. Shuli will come back next week, Mir Hashem, next Friday again, hopefully. Because I think anyways, people need to digest it, really think about it.
Also, people can call me.
Right. And people can call Shuli. Right. Does anybody else have a question?
Naomi, I have one.
Go ahead, Annie.
Hi, thank you so much. I think that, first of all, this past week alone has been so transformative for me personally, because up until now, I've, the month before this week, which is right before Elul, I've just been in this pattern of doubt, fear, frustration, seeing everything as pain. And coming back here was repurposing, in a sense. It was like a mikvah in a sense. It's just settling the emunah. But how my question is, how much could we actually ignore? Like, if there's a seeping thought that's a doubtful thought, and we want to know, or I want to know, or I'm doubting of something. Okay, how much do I let myself roll into it, or can I stop and do I ignore it right away? Like, can I just bring Hashem in right at the very beginning and say, Hashem, you're with me. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Or how much am I allowed to let?
I don't think you can do it all at once. No, I don't think so. I think each year you take a level that you can do. This is supposed to be loving and gentle also. Hashem understands us very well. I don't, if it's real for you to be able to turn away from the doubt, then do that. But if that is not real for you, then you have to see what you can turn away from. Well, where can you catch it? I've been on this journey for decades and decades and decades, okay? Each year, you take a layer. I feel these doubts, and when I feel these doubts, A, B, and C happen. Which part of that do you feel you could hold on to enough to make a change? Where could you make the change? Okay? In other words, I recognize that I still have this core doubt. You know, I remember many years ago, Hannah Blocker Siegelbaum told me that about this thing that I revealed in the talk today. She told me that this thing happened, and I couldn't face it then. I knew she was trying to help me. I knew she had special ability to help me, but I couldn't do it. I just ran away. But I never forgot it. And each year I'd try a little more, and then like now I feel like calling her up, you know, like she saw it. I couldn't see it. So no one is asking you to do something that you can't do. It's certainly not Hashem. He's only asking you to do what you can do. But we do have to understand that there is a cast of characters out there, and the root of all of our negativity is coming from Amalek, who wants to disconnect us from the true reality of Hashem as one. How does he do that? By putting doubt in our mind. So if you see that you have a chain of thoughts or a chain of behavior that's rooted in some kind of a doubt, okay, you have to understand, okay, so I'm not willing to take on the whole chain, but I'm willing to take on this piece and work on that. Find an area and find some kind of a way to kind of weaken that doubt a little bit and to work against it, to not be so enslaved to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that turning towards all this Torah learning and bringing on is like a blast. The blast of Emunah just cancels the Amalek. It's like just this, also the Achdut with the women that we learn together, it's just canceling it out. And I wanted to know if it was really real, like if it's, I'm a different person now. Like, it's like, whoa, thank God. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, good. Again, just do what feels empowering to do. Like if I take this on and I can make this change, it would really make a difference to me. It would bring fresh air into my life, and do that. See what I'm saying? Where do you need to open the window?
Sarah Liba has an appointment. She's getting married on Sunday. She wants to give everybody a bracha, and she wants to just take challah. She wants to do the bracha on challah. Go ahead, Sarah Liba. First of all, I just want to thank Shuli. This was absolutely remarkable. I'd love to hear more on the concept of, you know what, it's like, I think that as women, we all want to do so much. Like, we hear this and it's like, okay, but it's learning even how to be gentle, how to do it. What are the tools to make it gentle? What are the tools not to say that I'm going to,
Hashem loves you. Hashem loves you. Hashem loves all of us. He is doing everything. He totally loves you. You have a beautiful divine soul that he is emanating into you. He totally loves you. He's forming and maintaining your body. He totally loves you. He totally, totally loves all of us. And he wants us to express his love and to not get tricked by the darkness.
I just want to ask you one thing. Shuli, do you think that a lot of the illness today that people are experiencing is because we have a lack of maybe even understanding of maybe this love of Hashem, and in a way we don't incorporate that within ourselves, and so there's a lot of the illness today are coming from this spiritual lack, you think?
A lot of people talk about this. I'm not an expert on this. I'm just trying to answer questions on the sheet. I don't know. But anyway, please give everybody my phone number. And
I will.
And really don't hesitate to call me, because I can talk about this 24/7.
I know you can. Thank you, Shuli. It was so beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, very good.
Okay, Sarah Liba.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Shuli. Mwah. Love you.
Erev Shabbos, everybody.
Okay.
You hear me? Yeah.
Go ahead, Sarah Liba. Go ahead.
First, I want to give you all a bracha, because once I take the challah, I'm probably not going to talk anymore. And, this group and this learning that Shuli just did, this is like what Rav Lubinsky calls lofty living on the ground. And it's such a beautiful way, like thinking about, because his website is becoming divine. That's what we're trying to do. And I feel like I just want to share with you that here I am, Baruch Hashem, B'lei Hara, 65 years old, divorced for 13 years. Gone through a lot. Those of you who know me already from being together for so long know that my children went through tremendous journeys, and they still are. And there's been miracles. And as I say, like Nishmas, and as I've said, Mizmor Lasoda, I developed, like, I think it's in keeping, although not as sophisticated and knowledgeable in depth as what Shuli teaches, which is so beautiful, is just to really vision your geulas, to vision your, the kids used to play Transformers, our kids, like it would look like this and then it would open up and be something else. I think that's what we're trying to do in our mind. Take something that looks dark and be able to transform it into finding the light. That's, to me, what Bereshis, Vayevra, Vayivoker, all light comes from darkness. We have to live there and believe that. And I want to just tell you personally that because I tried for this for so long, I started to visualize each circle, because Blia and Ara have 7 kids, and then there's me, right? And I picture each time I say Mizmor Soda, I picture the Yeshua and the healing for each child. And from the time I'm doing this, the couple that didn't have children, that I literally held my arms cradling a baby, they have a child turning 1 after 6 years. And I have children that I pictured walking around the chuppah, and they're married. And I have children that are waiting to find their zivug, and I'm walking around in a circle when I say Mizmor Soda, because I want to feel them. I want to feel that they're already there. I feel like that's what we're talking about. And yeah, number 8 was me. Like, I literally hold my flowers in my mind, and I walk around my house, and I put out my finger. And someday I'm marrying the most amazing man in the world. And the way we met each other was because of, I'd say, but I was going to put on the chat today of the Shabbos Queen Project, Teshuvah, Tefillah, and Tzedakah, and Shabbos, because we're both Baalei Teshuvah, him from age 40. And because of his mitzvah Tzedakah, he met Ray Shagalov, a very wonderful woman coach husband 20 plus years ago. And he always worked with him as a shutaf in giving tzedakah. I know Ray because I'm building the Shabbos Queen Project, and she's a project builder, and she's a coach and mentor. And then, Teshuvah, Tefillah. I mean, we both everyone's davening for the Yeshuos. But Shabbos is the Makor HaBracha, the source of all blessings. So for me, to see that Ray, who's our Shadchana, who thought of it on Shabbos. I met her because of Shabbos, and he met her because of his mitzvah tzedakah. Like, to me, that is just what we're talking about. Like, we're just seeing the geula in every moment, and I am just so grateful. I can't even begin to tell you the happy tears that are like a few times a day. And I want to bless everybody here to believe in their geulas, no matter how dark it is. It says Esa Rav. I'm going to think of his name in a minute. A great tzaddik who just passed. Has Esa Eina El Haharim. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Maybe the mountains of my problems. May Ayin Yavo Ezri. People say, from where will my help come? No, Rav Osher Freund, he says, from nothing. Ayin is nothing. If there's no chance, no way, nothing. Yavo Ezri, my help will come. Where? From where? Ezri Me'im Hashem. My help is from Hashem. Ose Shamayim V'aretz. Who makes heaven and earth? From what? From nothing. So if there's no chance, no way, you just give it to Hashem, because he's Yeshmei Ayin, and he's waiting to just do it for us. And he can in his time. For in his time, we have to give him his time. He knows. But I bless everyone here with their personal geula, and with a year of revealed goodness for all of us in every corner of our life, with everyone in our life, every situation in our life, to see the goodness, to see the light emanating. Not even to already see the light. And that's what the geula is, that we should be blessed with the geula shlema. And that each of our individual geulas, we should really see as the puzzle piece that we are as a nation. Because I always tell people that once I made a puzzle that all was wood, it was crazy, 500 pieces, but I was missing one piece at the end. And it made me crazy. And for a week, I searched and searched until I moved the board. And I moved the board, Leila Levine, so that was the most powerful part for her. I moved the board and I found the piece, and when I popped that in, it was such shlemus. I wasn't even from that, but I always thought, that's your piece. All the cutouts Hashem gave you, everybody you have to interface with. But if you're not in it, if you don't show up, and then Hashem is like, where is she? Where is she? I need her. So I bless us all to show up as fully as we can. And as I was making challah this morning for my Shabbos and for my chasana, because I eat only a specific thing, because I'm almost gluten-free, I was thinking to myself, all these elements, this is what it is. I mean, I teach challah baking, and we can do that another time, but it's all fire, wind, water, and earth. That's what challah is. And it's bringing it all up. And knowing that when we're being punched down, it's because Hashem wants us to rise up higher. That's why we punch down dough. Anyway, so here I am. I'm going to say this bracha. I'm going to bless us all with the most amazing year of geula, the real geula, the geula shlema. And after we say it, I'm going to close because I want to daven, and I want you to daven too, for everything you need. Hashem should hear us, and we should feel his love so palpably, like I feel this dough. And everybody's invited to the Shadow Screen Project if you're not already on. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu la'afrish chala min ha'is